Let's call to order.
Beckwith,
Here.
Caldwell, absent. Farkapisi, absent. Kedman,
Present.
Kotsinis,
Here.
Linsdau,
Here.
Sutton.
Here.
We have a quorum.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. The Warren Newport Public Library District provides the community with access to information, kindles the imagination of children and adults, and supports lifelong learning. Would anyone like to make a public comment? Okay. Any correspondence?
Yes, we do have from Roger.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Is
so
that enough for everybody?
I just make that.
Let's just pass this one
Yeah.
around.
the moral of the story here is that you want to be aware of using your personal device, such as a smartphone, to conduct any library business. So the recommendation is not to use a smartphone to text between one another, that type of thing. And if you look at the ruling, one of the things that So we are set to talk about. We were set to talk about electronic communications, Kathleen, and I've been meaning to contact you to say that Roger Ritzman, our attorney, has advised us to wait because there's some laws that should play themselves out in the court the next cases that will play themselves out in the courts next 6 months, and that will determine
Okay.
how we might want to craft that policy. So
We don't have, a date, just put it off for the future?
we'll try to do it this calendar year, but
Oh, okay.
roughly 6 months is
Okay.
the best guess when those cases will be ruled upon. So
Okay.
Another one is
And this is texting
Oh, yeah, I got this in email today.
WNPL business, like, not just if I'm friends with some people on the board and we're texting about other things.
right. Well, here's the
Just
challenge.
making sure.
The challenge is if I send George a text and I'm texting him about the Cubs game today. Well, obviously that's not something that has anything to do with the library business. But if I'm texting George questions about a policy, for example,
Right.
or that kind of thing, that's all of a sudden a public record. So members of the public could FOIA
Access
that and
it.
have access to it. And then it gets challenging. Then is if you provide that information. I mean that's fine because we could just send any correspondence George and I have about board business, but then that may not be good enough, and the third party may decide, okay, you need to send all the text messages between you and George, and
Yeah,
we'll decide
right.
what's public, what's not. It's just better to,
Email
if possible.
on our board site. Okay. Okay, Joe.
So, Joe and I have talked. It doesn't mean that you are forbidden from texting, but just know that if you do that,
It has
that's
to-
public record. So. Now the cases in 6 months may change that. Although I don't think so, because based on the way the courts have ruled in Illinois the past several years, it seems like they're leaning on the sides of this is more and more public. This communication between board members or board and staff.
So what you were saying, too, was that even if Joe and you and George are emailing about, or texting about the Cub game, and then something about the library board business, basically, your entire text message, anything between the two of you can be it personal, can also be attached to.
Yeah, third party may say, I want to see all the messages
Between the two of you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for getting my mail while I was on vacation, Bonnie.
Yeah.
Really?
Really.
Well, that's
Okay.
yeah.
And maybe we
All right.
should all have just a dedicated line to each other. I don't know. It's interesting.
One option, and I don't know if our attorney would comment on this or not, what if we're using our library email accessed through a personal device? And, for example, we have Outlook as our library email server.
Right.
Right.
You can set up an Outlook app on your phone that ties to the library system. That acts almost like a message system. It's near real time rather than real time.
Mm-hmm.
So it has the same effect. You just get every other email as well on your device.
Correct.
That's
Right.
the downside of it.
Yeah.
Right.
but it allows us to keep all of our communications on the server so it's easily FOIA-able.
Rather than,
Right. Yeah, and that's the challenge too, with any text messages that I might send to a board member, or board members might send between each other. You know, we're not actively, keeping those as records, and it's challenging because it's not just the type of message. It's not like, okay, all text messages between the executive director and board that we're, printing up and we're, archiving in a folder. It's not that simple because it depends on the nature of the communication. So if it's about one matter, it would go in one file. If it's about another matter, it would go in another file. So it's almost impossible to maintain those records.
yeah.
So stay tuned. We'll see what
Interesting.
happens with the law.
Last piece of communication, did just you and I get this?
Just,
I
yeah.
guess, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a per capita grant, our per capita grant, and.
Well, no, we have not received the
I know, but
actual money.
they've been awarded, is that what it said?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
But
We-
that's
we
given
also,
to us.
we also were awarded it last fiscal year. We haven't received it yet.
Yes, I know.
So just, at least part, not
I get the
the, but
connection.
the,
There's
but
a
the
little
good news,
disclaimer.
the good news about this is the full amount. And we've been getting less than the full per capita due to the state budget crisis. But this,
Yeah, I can't
this
remember, what
award
was it
is-
last year,
Actually got it.
50-something?
53-ish
53, that's what I
thousand dollars,
thought.
yeah.
So we can say yay, but lowercase, not uppercase.
Yes.
Right. No, I mean, it's great that,
Yeah.
we have this letter that we'll be receiving the money.
Great.
Although your guess is as good as mine when we'll actually receive it.
Exactly.
And then one more communication from staff for the snacks, very nice.
Thank you so much.
For the cupcakes, huh?
From the cupcakes, they
Oh,
were
wonderful.
delicious.
Oh, good.
Deli, yummy, yummy.
Okay, anyone want to remove anything from the consent agenda? Okay, may I please have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
And I second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. Okay, President's Report, page 19. Anything, questions, comments? Okay. Committee reports, 21 through 23. Questions, comments? Okay. Ryan's report, you're up.
Yeah, you'll notice the one thing that was added to the executive director's report is the report about the Development Council. And according to policy, I think it's 1059. That's the-
57.
Oh, excuse me, 1057, that's Development Council.
I don't know.
That's okay. According to the Development Council policy, it's supposed to be written by the chair of the committee. There is no chair. Fortunately, our amazing Laura Stone took brilliant notes, and she was able to write up this report. So this is a pretty thorough overview of the meeting.
It really was.
So the big thing is that I am in the process of developing a strategic plan for fundraising, which I will share with this board, obviously, and with the WDC. So my goal is for the next meeting of that group, which will be, actually, we're meeting in May to talk about the 45th anniversary fundraisers, but the next quarterly meeting is when I would like to talk about that strategic plan. So that's the big update. So it's one of those things we continue to talk about, okay, how are we going to grow this group? And we have to discuss some challenges with fundraising for libraries. That's in the report, so.
Brian, I don't know, I mentioned to Joe maybe a while ago when I was laid up, I don't know, I talked to my sister who's spent 30 years as a professional development fundraiser for Vanderbilt, and I just kind of picked her brain, and I wrote a lot of things down, so if you want me to share that with you, she had some
Sure.
different ideas than what we had come up with, and some pathways maybe for us to look at.
What are the days that you don't work?
Right now, Mondays and Fridays.
I wonder if would you be willing to come to WDC if we made it on a Monday or Friday?
Sure.
What would you think
A
of that?
Friday in particular,
Because I think
'cause I
we
might
made it
start.
for, it's not on a Monday or Friday, don't think.
Well,
Yeah, it's been the same.
if it's in June, I mean, I'm done with school in June.
Yeah, we could
so-
do that, sure.
Okay.
I don't think anyone
Yeah.
will object. I think
Yeah.
people on the committee are flexible enough that will work.
Guys,
Or I
what
could
is
just talk to you.
WD?
Yeah, well, we can talk.
It's the development,
Yeah.
Warren Newport Public Library
Development
Development Council.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Sorry, I
That's
should have
okay.
said that, yeah, it's a
So-
work in progress.
Yeah, so, just a quick recap, you might have heard this before, but, so we had a consultant come, a fundraising consultant for libraries, and talk about what we could do to grow our fundraising efforts. That resulted in the creation of this ad hoc fundraising group, which had the recommendation for us to establish the development council to help guide us through.
And tell her who
expanding.
the ad hoc group was. I mean, just describe it.
Yeah, community leaders, Mayor Kavarik was on that committee, Stu Kerr, who was Lake County Chamber of Commerce Executive Director, Teresa Bartels, who was a fundraising professional, was on that group.
Yeah,
So
there
it's
were a few people who'd done fundraising
Right.
for other
Okay.
organizations around here.
Yeah, so it's a really.
It was a really good
Really great group, yeah. So it was good, and, one of the things we were thinking about coming out of that meeting was a foundation, but that group was really strongly against us creating a foundation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Because
okay.
of their experiences with creating foundations locally and just kind of some local insight into that. So we
Okay.
listened to them. Although that still comes up every once in a while. But. Other questions about anything else in the report?
I was glad to see the chart on safety and security be so short for a change.
Yeah. Well, I really think that has to do with the fact that since the Black Belt librarian Warren Graham was here, I don't want to say that we're being more aggressive, but I think we are taking things more seriously, and things where I think staff used to let patrons maybe kind of slide a little bit. We're
Addressing it.
we're asking people to follow policy, and so thus it's resulting in less suspensions, which is good, obviously.
Anything else?
That you were gonna move the book, bingo the books back to the late April date.
Yeah.
I was happy to see that.
Yeah, it'll be a good thing.
No other questions? Okay, on to new business, and it's the budget.
Yeah, the big thing I wanted to discuss tonight, especially since we are a couple trustees down, was the board part of the board development part of the budget, and that's on page 40. And just to see how this is working, because if you'll recall, for this year's budget, we made some cuts. For example, we're down to one ILA membership. There's not a great deal of money in the budget to attend different conferences like ILA, the ILA Conference for Trustee Day, the Coney Dinner, that type of thing. So basically the question is, and this, the way it's proposed is essentially kind of a flat budget, but, and even some of these things that we have in here, looks like we budgeted for that Dominican University trustee orientation. I don't know that anyone attended that. I'm not even, to be honest, I'm not even sure the date of that event, so, I'm not sure if that's something that we're still interested in doing, or just, so what are your thoughts on this budget in terms of board development? I talked to Andrea about this a little bit, and, her thinking was, she really enjoyed the videos. She thought we were gonna get a great deal of value out of those, trustee short takes videos, and that doesn't, those don't cost us anything. So she was in favor of continuing what was working, and liked the fact that it didn't cost us anything. So,
It's kind of hard if we've not experienced these to know the value of some of them. So Joe or George, have you been to any of these
I
events?
have, yeah.
Any? Yeah.
I've gone to the trustee forum. No, is that the one in Oak Brook? Where's the one in Oak Brook?
It says Lyle.
Lyle.
it has been in Oak Brook before.
Yeah, I think in the last few years it's been in Oak Brook. I've gone to that a couple of times.
Okay.
And I would say it's totally dependent on the subject. Like one time we went and it had to, one of the main presentations was contracts with your executive director. So the first thing they do is say, whose director has a contract? And like 4 hands went up. It's unusual.
Really?
It was more than 4, but, you know, there's a couple hundred people in the room, and
Oh.
I don't think it was more than 20 people who said their executive director was under a contract.
What do they do if they're not under contract?
Yeah.
What do you do if you're not
You're
under
an
contract?
at-will employee.
Yeah,
You
well,
just-
yeah.
An out-
Yeah, the majority of libraries in Illinois, my understanding is the directors are not under contracts, but it just depends on the library and how they do things. So,
Are under contract?
or not.
I'm not, okay, that's what I,
Not.
yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
was
'cause
saying,
that-
yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
They're not under
So,
contract.
you know, that was probably an hour and a half thing, and, you know, Mary Ann Bretzloff and I were sitting there going, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
So I think you have to look at the topics, and the afternoon is always it's a Q&A with Phil Lanzini, who was our attorney for a short while, well-known, and although, is he retired now?
I think he's still
Okay,
working. All right,
so he's a library attorney or in the southern part of the state, and he always does a Q&A, and it's always interesting. It runs the gamut, and that's a pretty, you know, it's always the last thing in the afternoon. So I think it's just dependent upon the subject. The ones that I've gone that, you know, weren't way off topic like the contractual one have been really good, so.
And you know ahead of time what the.
Yeah, oh,
agenda
yes,
is.
yes. And we announced them. We've announced them here, and, you know, it's on a Saturday too, which I know
Yeah.
is a mixed bag, you know.
I went the first year I was here, and I found it useful.
What were the subjects, do you remember?
I think it was actually board conflicts and
Irony.
Oh, the irony, yeah.
That's tricky then.
Very useful.
And then the ILA conference, there's a trustee day, so they have a number of sessions focused on matters relevant to trustees. The downside of this year is that it's in Peoria, and ILA is in the middle of the week. So if you're working, you would have to take, you know, really at least 2 days off. You know, one to get down there. Maybe you could get away with just taking 1 day off, but you'd have to get down there and stay overnight and
Yeah.
drive back.
I did the trustee day when ALA was in Chicago, summer before last, or was it last summer? Summer before last, I think.
Yeah,
And that was really great.
yeah.
Yeah.
It will. I think it'll be back at Rosemont.
But the
next year.
ILA one, I've never gone to. It's always on one of the days that I work, and I've never gone.
been. Okay.
And same with Laconia dinner, they have different topics of interest, and it really depends. I think that's more of a social thing, a networking thing than anything else. Because last year they had the creators behind there's a comic Unshelved, which is specific to libraries.
Okay.
There's Dewey and
Uh-huh.
I haven't read it for a while, but so that was more of a I think kind of a fun one.
Okay.
So what are your thoughts about this part of the budget?
I don't know if we need to budget for all of these. Maybe we choose a few or.
Can I ask you,
One.
what is the Dominican University trustee orientation?
Times 3.
And I looked to find information to get more information on this, to see when it is this year, and I couldn't find anything. Because I recall, I think it isn't it in the summer usually after trustees are elected? But I don't know a great deal about it. I don't know that anyone's gone to it since I've been here. But my understanding is it's just that, it's for new trustees, and it gives you an overview of the roles and responsibilities of being a trustee.
Oh,
Much like what we've.
I don't know,
been
did George,
doing.
you do that, or Joe?
I didn't. No.
I've never even known about it.
So I don't know.
I remember us talking about it last year, but I don't remember
Right.
anybody going.
Or maybe that's something they do every other year. I don't know if it's been discontinued, but because I couldn't find any information about it. But it's kind of been a placeholder in the budget. So
I don't see a problem with keeping it as it is, and we can underspend if we
Yeah.
don't actually go to these things.
Well, the big ticket item is the Peoria conference, so seems to me.
does anyone here realistically think they would go to Peoria? Should we leave it in or take it out?
Other thing about
Because the challenge, once like I said, it's in the middle of the week.
Yeah, for work.
So you know
Right.
you at least have to take 1 day off to drive down, attend it, and drive back. There's no other, I mean, and it's probably 2 days realistically.
If you think it's gonna be in Rosemont next year, is that the one? It's gonna be in Rosemont next year?
That's what you were saying, maybe?
2019, October 2019, so not this next fiscal year, but the fiscal year after.
Oh, okay.
It alternates between Chicago area and downstate.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
That makes
Right.
sense.
okay. I'll wait till it's closer.
Fair enough.
And then what about the memberships? When I came on the board, the library paid for everyone to be in ILA, and the president also to be in ALA. And I don't believe one was a member of United for Libraries when I came on. And then when we did budget cuts, we said just the president would do it, except the library doesn't pay for it, because for me, it's professional expense, I had to pay for it. So, the idea that we had was that I believe, help me remember if this is
Yeah.
correct, was that we would forego the memberships and we would spend the money to make this more of a resource. I don't know, do you think that's of interest?
Something to be aware of for next year is that those memberships wouldn't necessarily qualify as a professional expense for you anymore.
Well,
Tax-wise?
I don't take it on my taxes, I just feel like it's part of what I would do for my job anyway, so, not the United for Libraries probably, but the other two. So, it's,
Just to keep, yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Just to keep
Current
up.
with things, yeah.
And what accrues to us because of those memberships?
well, this is why I bring these every time, because if you're in ALA, you get American Libraries, if you're in ILA, you get the ILA Reporter, and if you're in the United for Libraries, you get this
Okay.
thing called The Voice. I'll pass these around.
And then you often leave them, right?
Yes,
In there after the
they
month is
are.
done.
Yeah. And one of the things we did is we moved money from there under trustee materials, books, videos.
Yeah.
And I have been, anytime we get like ALA, there's like a professional catalog, I look through there. The challenge is they don't publish very many things that are specific to trustees. So I haven't purchased anything
Yeah,
yet out of the collection.
the place
because-
that has them is The Voice.
Are there things in there? Yeah?
Yeah, every
Oh.
now and then there's things in there. I guess I should share this with you. I didn't realize that.
Well, you do share things, but
Yeah,
not, we
but
haven't
I
talked
don't
about
think I was
the,
looking for book reviews.
yeah, I hadn't thought of that. But once again, it's also, we'd have to decide if it's, valuable to have in the collection.
The
or not.
thing about the Dominican thing is that next year is an election year and there'll be new people here, so. I mean, to me, once you've been on for a year or two, I don't know why you would do an orientation. It would be
Yeah.
something, you would be elected in May and you'd want to go in the next couple months. So,
I could be in denial, take it out, and just pretend the trustees that are on the board will run again, Joe.
yeah.
All kidding aside, yeah, it would, I think I need to really pin down whether this thing exists. Do
I
we?
kind of agree with Ryan, I don't think we need to worry about
Yeah.
that.
If it exists, I think we should budget for as many people as could potentially be elected to the board.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay. Well, I might even still advocate leaving it at 3 because maybe,
0, is that what she said?
I said
Mrs.?
0.
Kathleen said 0, so,
Or 0 new people.
right.
oh, okay.
We have to have 7.
But Kathleen, Bonnie, Ann, would, any interest in attending, even, because I think still would be relevant to relatively new board members, or is that something that you wouldn't be interested in?
Maybe.
Okay.
I
So
hate
ma-
to commit, because I.
Oh, sure. Well, we don't have to, I mean,
Well,
we.
this is not written in stone, we're
Yeah.
just trying to
So maybe we
decide
leave it
if
at
should budget
3.
If they all say they might,
Yeah,
and
so
then we
we-
have a couple new people,
Yeah,
then
so
we
let's
should
just leave it.
probably
Just
leave it
leave
as
it.
it is.
Yeah, just to be on the safe side. Okay.
How many new people are we expecting?
Let's see, I'm done, and Andrea,
And
no,
Andrea.
somebody.
We're not expecting any
No, I guess
new
just
people.
Andrea and I.
Two
That's what I just said.
potential vacancies on the board.
No new people.
Oh, and I have something to tell you about that, too.
Okay,
Remind me after,
okay, I will.
because I talked to Andrew.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Any other,
Piques my interest.
Good. That was the idea.
so is everyone okay with not being a member of ILA? I guess on behalf of ILA, I should be advocating for all the trustees, but from the library's point of view, I don't know if we're getting tremendous value by having all of our trustees be a member, to be perfectly honest. I hate to say it, but.
There's nothing stopping us from signing up on our own if we want
That's
to
true.
as well.
That's true.
I mean,
What's your feeling?
the one thing you get to do if you're a member that you don't get to do if you're not is you get to vote when it's the ALA president or ILA president. And I mean, maybe you're dying to do that.
Don't have the knowledge to do that.
Well, I mean, they give you, candidate profiles and so
Yeah.
on.
Oh, it's nice to have some sort of a voice
Yeah.
in some way.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
And the Illinois Library Association really is a model for state library associations. It's one of the, if not the
Really?
best in the country. I mean, it's highly regarded, so they do things really well.
Really?
Okay, that's good to know.
So the one membership for ILA on here, is that the one you're currently doing?
No, I
This
don't,
is
that
X-
money wasn't spent. I paid my own,
Okay.
yeah. I think when we budgeted for this, I don't know if that came up that I was paying my own and so.
I did.
The
I think we
board
just.
president.
I think we did. The board decided they wanted to leave it in there because we reluctantly acknowledge that you're at some
I'm
point
in
going
a
to sign up to be a
oddity,
board
yes.
member.
I
Yes.
did.
So.
Right,
Mhm.
so to keep
Okay.
it in there for.
Right, I
any
see,
time
yeah, that
there's
makes
a-
sense.
Yeah,
That we
you
don't
have
lose
to-
sight of it.
I would favor keeping it in the budget,
Yeah.
just in case you decide you're done with this and leave.
Well, the other thing that you could, I think, did we talk about this already? That you could have one person, wouldn't even have to be the president, one member be in ALA and one be in ILA.
That's
and
true,
then-
and share that.
And
whatever
one
they
person
learn.
be in United for
Yeah.
Libraries, and then you
That's a
could
good- that's
swap
a
it
good
around.
idea,
True.
Joe. That's a good
Which would
idea.
be,
Probably
you know,
more
that would be
doable
more
for most
representation
people.
and everyone would get a chance to see how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be,
That's a
okay,
good
so I
idea.
guess we're not gonna change this at all then, right?
I will take out the ILA annual conference in Peoria though,
Yeah.
because it doesn't
Yeah,
sound
like
like anyone
anybody's
can make it.
interested.
interested in going,
I know I can't go,
I
I doubt
can't.
Tom could go.
yeah, I
Right.
can't. And Andrea probably wouldn't go,
Right. So it's just.
so.
Andrea wouldn't want to spend the money.
That'll make her doubly happy, won't it?
Right. So I will cut that out. So this will go
All right,
down.
so
a
we're
little
gonna
bit.
take that one out.
All right.
Anything else? On the budget?
And not at this time. No.
Okay, so we'll pick it up again at committee of the whole.
Absolutely.
Okay, is that it?
I don't know when this comes in, but I did get on Extranet and look at the disaster plan. I
Yeah.
don't know if we were supposed to do that, and we're gonna
For
talk
committee of
about
the
it
whole,
now.
but yes, please, what are your
You
reflections?
were ahead of your game.
I did. I tried to look at it because I was nervous that it was going to take me a long time. There were just a couple places that I edited. I don't know, I can't edit that on there. There was a misspelling in one place, and then my phone number I'd rather have as my cell number instead of my home number.
Great. Yeah.
So-
Can you send those along to me?
Can I do that? Okay.
Perfect, yeah.
I didn't go through it with a fine tooth comb.
It's okay. No, that's good.
I wanted to know what it was about, so. Okay, will do.
Okay, items for the next agendas?
I have a question. I have something I might or might not want to put on the committee of the whole. As, well, under the category of things we'd like to know more about. Our depository collections. I know they exist, but I know nothing else about them. Do you know if there's anybody who could tell us more about our various depository collections and how they're
Like-
used and what they're for?
Like
is
at the library or like in general, like depository collections in general.
I know that the library has depository collections in some of the local schools or preschools or what have you.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
But I know nothing else about them, and I'm just curious. I was wondering if anybody else was curious.
Sure. You can talk about them if you
I
want.
would love to hear more about that.
Okay.
Okay, we'll put that on.
Under random curiosity. So.
That was kind of like under, what was the thing Andrea used to do? New and notable.
New and notable.
New or notable, yeah.
Okay. New and
Okay. Anything else for future agendas?
We have 2 policies for May.
Listen, do you want to substitute something for that 1007?
No.
Okay.
But thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
I am looking for suggestions for June, and I was going to talk to Andrea tonight, but I'll wait till I talk to her. So I don't have anything for June yet, so if, Joe, if there was something that you thought should be done June-ish, let me
Okay,
know.
I'm not prepared to answer that, but I'll
Okay.
check on it.
Okay.
Anybody else? I forgot this one thing I was gonna do under correspondence. This was the sign that I
Oh,
put
yeah,
up in the
that was
staff
so
room. I thought you
nice.
might wanna see it.
Thanks for
other than
sending
the
those
picture.
pictures of it. That
Oh,
was
you're
nice.
welcome.
There was a lovely article about the bookmobile today, too, on the, I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah, yeah.
About the
That was
master
fun.
plan.
About Angela.
Yes.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
lovely.
Okay,
Very nice.
so no other agenda items. Okay, anyone want to speak in public forum? Ladies, you want to say anything?
Thanks.
You're good? Okay, announcements? Anything besides what's on here?
I got just it's not on here, but just I think the board's aware because it's in my executive director's report or has been in the past. We have our management retreat tomorrow,
Oh,
so very excited about
Oh,
that.
fun.
Should be a lot of
Where are you
fun. Yeah, CLC.
Oh,
Yeah, to they have like conference
Oh,
rooms or
wow.
something. Yeah,
that'll be great.
Universities.
University Center.
Oh,
That's
University.
but that's CLC.
No,
It's not.
that's different.
No.
It's a different.
Adjacent campus.
it's on the
Oh,
grounds,
wow.
but it's not.
Noreen was responsible for booking the facility, not me, obviously. I thought it was affiliated with CLC. Huh?
It's just on the same campus.
Learn something new every day.
campus.
Okay, great.
I would make that mistake too.
Is that the really cool building that's next to CLC?
If you go off of Washington.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I've been in it.
It's on the
nice.
east
It's
side of
beautiful.
the
It's a
building.
cool building.
Yeah,
Beautiful
so
inside,
Right.
yeah.
So what
Nice
happens at the manager's thing?
Thing.
What happens in the manager's retreat stays. No, I'm just
Stays
kidding.
at the-
No. We're going. I mean, it's a big part of it. It has to do with team building, but we are also going to talk about a lot of different topics. But so I did a pre-retreat survey. We talked about our mission, our vision. What we're doing. Kind of did a SWOT analysis, and so for that, we're going to try to key in on some topics that we need to focus on because. One of the things that is pretty, I think, pretty obvious by reading the executive director's report is that we have a lot on our plates, and there are a lot of expectations, from the community on us. But we really need to focus. Obviously, we're going to have our core services, but we really need to focus on certain areas and renew our focus. So we're going to talk about that, generally speaking. So that's the big.
I'm not sure if this is the right time to bring it up, but one of my neighbors wanted to know what we would need to do to get a 3D printer here. And I said, well, I don't think we've gotten the budget, so I don't know. So, but they said it would be really nice if we had that. So I'm just saying, I don't know, do we put that like in the budget for some year in the future or something? I
Sure,
don't know.
Andrea's not here, so the
Yeah,
answer.
Let's put it in.
No, I mean, could we budget and get a 3D printer? Absolutely. It's just so I think so I have a I don't want to say unique perspective on 3D printing, but I think it's a big trend. I mean, it's not even a trend anymore. I mean, so many libraries have 3D printers and are sitting in maker spaces, but I really believe that libraries are very unique to their communities, and I have not gotten the sense, other than a few comments from people, that there's a like this passion in the community for us to get a 3D printer. I mean, I guess you could take the Steve Jobs approach like he did with the iPhone, and he saw, okay, people need this and I'm going to create it, and they don't know they need it, but they're going to see that they need it. But I don't get that feeling. Like when I was in the Boston area, I talk a lot about my old library, how we were down the road from MIT. It was very much a maker community, and those kinds of things were expected in our community. And when I was leaving, the community was talking about creating this like a community like maker building, and that was a big part of the culture there. And I don't get that same impression from our community. So I guess when we did the strategic planning process, it didn't come up in the strategic planning process. I mean, maybe there was like one comment on it. So I guess I haven't made it a priority because one of the things, as I kind of alluded to, we're doing so much already that we would really, if we're going to do that, we would need to try to make this a focus. We'd have to find staff to take ownership of that, and what would we be trying to accomplish? So that's
Okay.
so I'm not opposed to it, but I think it would need to be part of
Okay.
well thought out, so.
I think we can talk about it a little bit as part of our flex discussion.
Sure.
That's what I was
like that
gonna say
idea.
too. Because
Okay.
that was, I thought how you described the flex was that it could have some of these things
Yeah.
coming
but
and
my-
going, so to speak.
So one of the things I would like to do though with something like that is like in a perfect world, it would be great to get students from the high school that are already using 3D printers with them to come here. And even if we had a 3D printer, we could say, listen, you manage and take ownership of this and you can use the space and you can show the
Yeah, that'd
public
be
how to
cool.
use it.
Yeah.
I love that idea of a model as opposed to us having our own that we're assigning a staff member. Okay, this is, you got to keep this thing running and people want to make things, you've got to book it. I like the idea of collaborating with the community, the resources we already have to make something like that possible. I think that's the smart way to do it.
And D56 has a couple too,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
there could be a
In
partnership with them.
In the school.
Yeah.
And remember, we keep talking about maker spaces. It's not just 3D printing.
Right.
Right, that's right.
I know, for example, that some members of our board might take interest in a computer-controlled sewing machine that can automatically spell things on an embroidery canvas.
Do you
for
think somebody might?
Needing.
Yes,
I already
they
get
have
that.
they have them on the side.
Yeah. And it's interesting because District 56 did I don't know if they called it a Maker Fair or Maker Day not so long ago. I don't know if you were you
Yeah, that was
there?
last week, yeah.
Yeah, and apparently,
As well.
apparently a lot of the new superintendent was saying, or the soon-to-be superintendent was saying that there were a lot of kids that were there that were interested in the techie stuff, like the, I'm not even sure what all there was, like, whether it was like,
Oh, there was
Cotton
everything.
balls
There's-
and
but
there's
there was
different
quite a
things.
few
Yeah.
things.
It was a cross
going on.
between a science fair and a steampunk convention
That's funny.
with everything thrown in for fun. I mean,
yeah.
No costumes though.
some people were.
One of my 8th grade students said that they have a 3D printer, I believe at Antioch or Lake Villa Library, because he was waiting for his dice to be made. So he's making his own, I don't know, video games of some sort. So one of the libraries out there has a 3D printer. Just saying.
Yeah, no, a lot of libraries have 3D printers. I mean,
Yeah.
probably more have them than don't, I think.
You think?
Today,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I haven't done like a survey or anything,
Yeah.
but yeah. I just think that we need to look at this if we were to go that route. If that's a priority of the board, we can make it happen. We just have to figure out the right way to do it.
Yeah.
And what do we give up then? Like, if we're gonna do that, is there something else we're gonna give
I
up?
like the idea of doing it in
Conjunction.
conjunction with one of the high schools or something, or
Mhm.
that high school right there next door, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're cool. I mean, and they, we'll see. I don't know if the technology is where they thought it would be, but the idea is that this is going to be the next device everyone is going to have in their homes because in theory there are so many applications, right? You have a device and you something at home. It's like, oh, this junky coffee maker, it broke, and there's this one little plastic piece that I can never get. Well, if you could print it and put it in, then all of a sudden you fix your coffee maker. I don't know if that's going to come to fruition or not, but especially in today's
Good
age
idea.
where people would just rather kick it to the curb and go on Amazon, click, next day,
Just as
there's my
easy.
coffee maker.
That's
Right.
right.
So that's really the world we
Just
live
as
in.
easy.
Actually,
mean that
we have
those
same-day
aren't
delivery
perfectly
here
good
now,
people.
actually.
What's that?
We have
Same day, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, it is
Somebody
pretty.
will drive it to you from Wisconsin.
On a Sunday in a white van. It's happened to me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's remarkable.
White van?
Yep. When I was laid up for 8 weeks, there wasn't a lot to do except look for the white van.
Many packages were.
I know, Joe helped me with that a lot.
What's
What's his
Package
name?
Slepper.
White Van's driver.
I don't know, I never had to.
So is the Cordell program all packed already, full?
No, it's not. Andrea was asking me about this program, and I looked. We're not taking registrations, as far as I know. It's not on the website as we're collecting registrations for it. So
Which program is this?
Matthew Cordell, the
45th
Caldecott
anniversary.
Medal
I
winner.
would love to have him do that. That's a Saturday, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that podcast, and maybe the video, I haven't seen the video, but I know the podcast is live and more than just books. I know you're all subscribed, so it will show up automatically in your feed. I don't know that you're all subscribed, but
Now, it says
you should.
the 19th is also the day we could pick up our Sapphire cards. But can
Uh,
we order those ahead of time?
correct.
or not?
Oh, I'm glad you said something.
The 19th of May.
I should have shown this during my executive director's report,
See?
because I forget people haven't all seen them.
Okay.
So this is what the Sapphire card looks like. Just the people at home, please come get it, $45.
So
Ooh,
we can't
nice.
order it ahead, Ryan, before the 19th of May, or?
How soon can you put in orders, I think is the question.
Yes, there you go.
Beautiful. That's
Well, we
very
will
cool.
definitely be ready on the 19th, maybe sooner, but we're still, working with staff on how it's going to work. But the idea is people can come and pay, and then right then and there, you can get your card with your barcode,
It's
yeah.
beautiful, yes, it's very classy
must have
looking.
one.
I must
So
have
where does
one.
it have the number?
It will go on the back, a barcode.
Okay.
That,
Will it
I
be
don't
etched
have
onto
it.
the back or is it this?
Oh, no, it's a barcode, just sticker.
Okay.
So, like, this is the new library card. What is this?
No.
So the Sapphire card, it's a fundraiser for the 40th anniversary. For $45,
Okay.
you too can be a Sapphire.
That's what that is.
Club member, yes.
Okay, thank you. All right,
I'm doing it.
I'll do it.
Me too.
That's fine. Okay, thank you for showing me.
just-
I didn't know what it was. Okay.
It's really
It's very spiffy.
gorgeous.
Yeah. Yes.
Anyone else have any announcements?
Yes.
Anyone want to move to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7:41.
7:41, yeah.